and welcome to another Hong Kong cinema review. Today we're talking about the fantastic, the mighty, the outrageous, the bold Iron Monkey. This is a fantastic film, an incredible find. The diamond in the rough, in a sense, as you would say, the pool. Why have I not seen this before? Why is not many people talking about this film? Iron Monkey delivers in so many different ways. An incredible, fantastic film. So let's talk about and dive into the fantastic nature of Iron Monkey.
He's probably right under my nose.
Iron Monkey was released in 1993, another film that I was born in, my existence in, a fantastic kind of coincidence yet again. This film had a fantastic box office success, it had fantastic reviews, it was known worldwide, it had a brilliant kind of following, and had a great kind of impact follow-up from the Once Upon a Time in China series, which kind of wrapped up its main trilogy in 1992 with Jet Li. A very significant trilogy that plays into this film quite a lot, which I'll get into more later on. This is from the director of Drunken Master, Snake and Ego Shadows, which is again an 88 brand new 4K release later in March. It's from the director of most recent efforts from Master of Z, The Legacy of the IP Man, which is the current series I'm reviewing. It's the most kind of credited up-to-date film he's done. He's also a fantastic stunt coordinator. He has done many films that you would have heard of, including Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Fearless, fantastic resume of cinema, TV, American, Hong Kong, lots of cool, really cool medium. Check out his IMDb list, it's fantastic, it's very extensive. Brilliant director, a fantastic guy that clearly knows what he wants and how to make things look good on screen. And Iron Monkey is no exception. This is a fantastic release from Eureka, brilliant 2K scan that really shows off and really highlights a lot of the core aspects of the film. An incredible film, definitely up there with the kind of the greats in terms of the IP Man movies, in terms of Operation Condor, Police Story, Jackie Chan films, in terms of John Woo movies of Hard Boiled. This is definitely in my kind of top 10, top 5 in a sense. Must own, must experience Hong Kong cinema experience you have to have. As you can tell, I'm very excited and very kind of selling this film because I'm just unbelievably in awe by it. It's still in my mind. I'm still thinking about the fighting, still thinking about the jokes, the characters. When a film really gets you and clicks and sticks in your mind, this one definitely is up there for sure for me in terms of a film I want to re-experience and re-watch over and over. And for a 93-minute film, it definitely packs a lot of punch. It definitely really gives you a lot in terms of your money's worth, in terms of experience, and manages to kind of craft levels in the sense of what I want to expect from a Hong Kong movie in terms of great characters, in terms of fantastic cinematography, in terms of legacy, which I'll get into more later. Fantastic, obvious kind of brilliant kind of fighting, choreography stuff, and brilliant, amazing kind of wire work mixed in with kind of classic martial arts type stuff, which I'd love to see on screen. But also delivers just a brilliant, entertaining film that has a good moral story about classic good versus evil. A reimagined kind of tale of Robin Hood, which is this kind of movie's kind of tagline is more or less basically Hong Kong's version of Robin Hood, which is very accurate, I would say for sure. Donnie Yen's character is a very respected and very kind of famous kind of martial arts expert. He comes into town, kind of passing through in a sense. He kind of gets kind of taken and kind of wrongly accused by being the Iron Monkey, this vigilante who's kind of terrorizing this town, because this character is basically going around stealing from the rich kind of generals, the rich people that have kind of taken over this kind of village in a sense, who have kind of stealing all the kind of the money and the wealth and the food and not giving anything back to kind of the lower class kind of people in that town. And Iron Monkey is someone who says, no, I'm going to give back to the people, I'm going to steal from them and give to the poor. And obviously the kind of the angry kind of general, really pissed off, who's very comedic in that sense. He's someone who's very slimy, who's kind of got like 5-7 wives in the film. He's just pissed off and he wants to find the Iron Monkey. He wants to punish him. He's going to punish anyone who kind of who's helping him in that sense. The film has a good sense of humor in terms of the way he kind of goes about the kind of process of finding the Iron Monkey, which I'll kind of leave to the film itself. Kind of slimy general who's basically just wants this guy to be killed or captured or whatever, basically takes his son and basically go and find him and we'll release your son, and the film plays off from that point onwards and during the kind of half an hour marker during the film. And of course later on they team up and they take on the new main bad guy who's come to town, who's going to rain terror upon this village in a sense and stop this kind of folklore of the Iron Monkey once and for all. It really plays really well. It's a very simple kind of 3-act structure. The first act is kind of establishing the Iron Monkey, the town, the kind of the humor, the kind of the characters they're kind of seeing, fantastic range of characters. You've got Donnie Yen's character comes in, mistaken, and it kind of bounces off from that point of view. You've got some kind of very interesting kind of back and forth, kind of traditional Robin Hood, Batman type stuff in terms of trying to find the vigilante versus the kind of the alter ego, which is kind of doing the nice things, used to helping the kind of the village and the town, like medicine and food and kind of stuff. And it kind of jumps into the kind of the second act, third act, which is basically the true bad guy of the film, the guy who's coming into town who is basically going to change things up, who's kind of, you know, you're not doing your job properly, you know, this guy is terrorizing this village, I'm not getting my money, so I'm going to stop him and I'm going to take over, you're going to answer to me, which is really this over-eccentric, this over-the-top kind of villain character, which I always love seeing in these movies. One thing I love about kind of Hong Kong movies in general is how much they have a very determined, very kind of cocky villain character, and the villains are always kind of so defined in that sense. When you got a character that's larger than life, who is so over the top, in terms of a kind of fearless hyena, or even Shaolin Wooden-men, but you got a villain that's so kind of overconfident and over kind of, you know, awesome in that sense in terms of his kind of fighting, in terms of his skill sets, and can pull off one-liners as well. On top of that, you've also got a fantastic kind of range of kind of, you know, subordinates and kind of, you know, sub-villain characters that kind of plays into the film. You've got probably one of the best kind of female villain sub-characters I've ever seen in a film, constantly fighting both our hero characters, who's constantly whipping out these kind of extraordinary kind of moves and fighting back and forth, who's very ruthless and fearless and does not give a shit, and even takes on the bloody kid during the portion of the film, which is really kind of nasty as well. You've got a really over the top kind of slimy kind of, you know, general, which is kind of, you know, just unbelievably funny to kind of laugh at, and deliberately funny to laugh at in terms of how stupid he is and how kind of, you know, funny he reacts to the situations he's in the sense. You've got a brilliant kind of lower general in a sense to that character, which is trying to do the right thing in between. He's someone who is by law to the kind of, you know, the officers in that sense, and who is someone who is looking after other people as well. He's not someone who is deliberately evil, he's just doing his job, and he's willing to help and try and protect the people he can throughout the film. Obviously he's a bit sly, he's taking bribes here and there, but he definitely steps up and definitely helps out our main hero character of the film, which is great. We've got a fantastic kind of main leading cast in terms of our Iron Monkey, which I can't pronounce his name unfortunately, but a brilliant actor, really fantastic kind of performance, which, you know, if the film was purely based on him and Donnie Yen came at the end, I would have been perfectly fine with that, because this guy is so charismatic and so nice and interesting, and, you know, you definitely get a sense of who this character is. And I love the alter ego between him as a daytime kind of doctor in a sense, who's helping people, versus the Iron Monkey, the vigilante side, who is deliberately very cocky and very kind of taking the piss. And they do with some really good stuff with that character, and later on even personates one of the kind of, you know, upcoming visits from the kind of the royal family in a sense, and that's really funny as well. They do a lot of good stuff for him in terms of the drama, in terms of the comedy, in terms of the cockiness and the confidence of that character. It's really interesting. You got the kind of girlfriend slash kind of, you know, sidekick or you know, assistant character, which you get her backstory and why she's doing the things that she's doing. She's really good as well. She's a fantastic fighter. She gets her own kind of fight scene. She gets her own kind of, you know, moment in the sense to kind of interact with all the characters in the film, and she's fantastic as well. A really good, fantastic actress that really helps and really boosts the film even more so. The fact that I was laughing my ass off for most of the film itself, even before I got to some of the main kind of crucial second act, third act kind of fight scenes later on in the film is just naturally very funny in terms of the way it kind of presents its kind of characters, in terms of its kind of humour, and it's very quick, it's very snappy, giving you a kind of like a fun, light-hearted experience, but also gets quite violent towards the kind of second act and third act of the film. I keep looking at the certificate thinking, how the hell is this a 12 in the UK? This should be a 15 rated film, because it has a fair amount of blood and kind of violence that you don't expect to be in a 12 usually. This film is very significant in terms of how it plays into the Once Upon a Time in China series. This Donnie Yen's character is the father of the Cantonese folklore hero Wong Fei-Hung, which I hope I said his name correctly, but this is the legendary kind of main kind of mystical kind of badass grandmaster that Jet Li plays in the Once Upon a Time in China series. I mean, fantastic, brilliant, just incredible. The fact that the kid in the film is actually that character, and the father you're seeing in the film is actually the guy who raises him, who teaches him the morals and the kind of the nature of who that character later becomes in the Once Upon a Time in China series, or in real life in that sense. And it's a fantastic kind of almost prequel to those kind of movies. It's a brilliant kind of journey. And I've seen this before in kind of a few other movies with Millionaire's Express, the Sam Hong directed film, which you get a cameo from the that character as well, and the IP man, they kind of leaving their kids in a sense, and you guys have their fathers kind of doing that hilarious kind of back and forth scene on the train. A good nod to the kind of the legacy of these kind of characters, and I love it. The fact these movies can do fantastic movies and really celebrate and really kind of highlight their legends, their personal kind of legends and their own kind of history, I think it's absolutely incredible, and I'm getting a really good sense of who these people were, and whether the films themselves are kind of accurate or kind of, you know, interpreted well in that sense. It's another question. But and on top of this, brilliant kind of connection, and in fact you've got the father and the kid who will later become the kind of the townfall legend. They actually give him a lot of scenes. Incredible. They give him the full-on fight sequences. They give him quite a few fight sequences in the film. Really demonstrates how good he is as like a kid. He's like 10, 11 or something in this film, and he is kicking some serious ass. And they really highlight and really show off how good this kid is at this age and how much his father is teaching him those kind of moral compass and codes. You also get some fantastic kind of comedic kind of funny scenes as well, and top of back and forth between him and the kind of minion characters in a sense. The relationship between him and his father is explored really interestingly. It's really well done, with some good dialogue moments, on top of the fantastic soundtrack which we get in the film, that hungry, you know what I mean? It's that brilliant kind of score from Once Upon a Time. It's actually in the film. Absolutely incredible. Having the knowledge and the foresight to have those movies already watched and already kind of calculated in my mind, and watching this, you know, after the fact, I think is really, really good. I think it definitely improves the film even more. So I think it definitely adds a layer of quality to the film that I was not expecting, or something of the film that I probably wouldn't have really known. I would have kind of glossed over me, kind of would have passed over me. But the fact I kind of acknowledged it and knew the movies and knew the kind of hero really helps and really boosts the film in terms of its kind of level of quality for me. Absolutely brilliant. That aspect alone is absolutely amazing. And the interesting thing about the 90s in terms of Hong Kong cinema, that they were drastically changing their kind of style in terms of their approach to kind of martial arts movies, with the success of the Once Upon a Time in China series, and with IP Man around the corner as well. They were definitely diving into more kind of folk heroes, more grandmasters, people that are heavily influenced, so kind of build that legacy around kind of, you know, their craft in that sense, and really exploring them, doing kind of almost biographical, more fantasy element piece films in a sense, because both the IP Man and the Once Upon a Time in China series are quite similar in terms of the way they kind of approach their kind of heroes, and exploring the nature and the politics going around at the time, and how they dealt with what was going on during that kind of time frame. And Iron Monkey adds to that kind of fun aspect of entertainment piece, but also gives you a bit of insight into that kind of that world and that kind of legacy at that time. And you know, Millionaires Express the same thing as well, in terms of having a range of ensemble cast of characters. You know, many movies during the kind of 90s, with Drunken Master 2 as well, Jackie Chan coming back to do that character, and really exploring different aspects of the kind of the legends that we kind of see, with later on being Fearless and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There definitely was a change and a shift within the kind of the mindset of Hong Kong cinema during the 90s, and I think it's absolutely incredible to kind of really explore that a bit more so now. And amazingly, I didn't realise until after I watched the film, until I watched the extras on the Eureka edition, that kid was played by a woman. Incredible, really amazing. And the way kind of Donnie Yen and the kind of the cast talk about it in the actual extras, and they kind of kept it kind of low key in a sense. I didn't have a single clue. Didn't have a single idea that this male kind of, you know, legendary folk town kind of icon was played by a little girl that really sells the character, and they want to kind of highlight the kind of the feminine side, the kind of a different aspect to the character that the, you know, movies didn't do. And that's really incredible. The fact this little girl can really kind of capture the spirit and the kind of essence of the real life, you know, martial arts master in that sense, and really deliver fantastic fighting, fantastic kind of dialogue, and really kind of just sell me on the character without me even thinking twice that in terms of gender wise. Absolutely incredible. This is a prime example of a film that's way ahead of its time. But on top of all that fantastic aspect of the film in terms of the Once Upon a Time connection, prequel almost, you've also got a brilliant film, and in general you've got some of the best fighting, outrageously over the top, brilliantly simple crafted fight sequences I think I've ever seen up until this point. Alongside the kind of the IP Man. And what makes this film work so well is that it kind of balances its kind of fighting. It has clear wire work in terms of its, you know, fantasy elements kind of thing, but what it does really well, and what I think is really key, is it's hard to master that. With Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, it's very fantasy, it's very floaty, it's very kind of clearly kind of larger than life kind of, you know, aspect of fighting, which is perfectly fine. It definitely embellishes that idea. Some films try and do both here and there kind of thing, and it's very kind of muddly in terms of what kind of style you're trying to go for. This film nails down a middle ground so well in terms of a kind of wire work, kind of floaty type of kind of fighting in that sense, versus the grounded nature of the actual like team moves type stuff. And that's very interesting. The fact that you can be grounded and actually have full-on fight sequences and be really kick-ass and brutal and be fast, but also mess with the editing and mess with kind of the supernatural aspect of like, you know, people flying in the air kind of thing and being kicked really long distances, and show the power and nature of this kind of fighting. I think they managed to nail it straight down the middle so well. And I don't think I've seen many movies accomplish that as well as this movie has. Each character's got their kind of defining kind of signature kind of moments and moves in a sense, and this film does the same thing as well in terms of, you know, what kind of fighting you're going to get from these kind of characters, and, you know, in terms of the villains, in terms of the heroes, and see how they crash together and how they kind of take on each movie. I think it's fantastic. The main bad guy, this kind of general character, which is kind of so over the top, who is known for doing this kind of like, you know, the kind of the monkey palm or something, kind of, you know, force power, which is, he is known for that, breaking objects, breaking wood, breaking doors down kind of thing. And if it gets you on your chest, you're gonna fucking feel it in that sense. You've got very distinct kind of martial arts kind of moves, the signature moves that we kind of see over and over kind of thing throughout these kind of mythology of movies. In terms of, as you can tell, Iron Monkey delivers in so many different ways, in terms of characters, in terms of story, in terms of score, legacy, incredible fighting, simple premise, brilliant maximum delivery, 5-star delivery, and it just offers exactly what I want to see in terms of these kind of movies. Something that can be respectful, something that can embrace the legend of the kind of the townfolk legends in a sense, and really celebrate kind of martial arts in general, but also can have fun. It also can be a little bit over the top, it can be a little bit out there in the sense of its kind of style. This film gives you the best of all the worlds you want to see from a Hong Kong cinema experience, and I beg you to go and watch this film as soon as possible. Go and buy the film, go and support Yuriki's kind of release of these films. That's been my review for Iron Monkey. I hope you enjoyed watching this review, guys. Please check out the Once Upon a Time in China series movies. This really does kind of give you a bit of insight into that kind of hero character, and gives you a bit more of a kind of foresight, kind of, you know, knowledge with the Iron Monkey in mind, in a sense. Until next time, guys, it's been Amphlett Reviews. So yeah.